Do not attempt to adjust your set. This is a Streaming Freedom video bulletin. It cannot be stopped, and it is the only free voice left on the net. Hello friends, and welcome back to the channel. In today's Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed video, I wanted to discuss some of the various bugs that have come about, at least that I've experienced, because of DLC 3, including a break to the Ghostbuster equipment, to the dual vertical grips. Something that you can do if you're experiencing the issue that will give you a 50-50 chance of them actually working. It's not really that great a fix at all, but something that I found in testing that made them work a little bit better, as well as some bugs that were still around that's been in here forever that were made worse by DLC 3, and a couple that seem to have been fixed. I haven't really seen anybody talking about any of this, and in the case of the dual vertical grips, since I know a lot of people use that and a lot of the quote-unquote pro players, really is surprising. And I messaged Illfonic about it myself, actually, on their YouTube channel, but since I'm not a League player, surprise, surprise, they ignored me. Which I really don't care if Illfonic ignores me, but they do need to fix it. Now, the first thing that I'm going to bring up, also, I don't know if this is a bug or if this is an intentional choice. If it's intentional, to be quite frank, it's unfair. But with the Possessor Ghost, as you'll see here in the gameplay footage, it's in that sieve, and I pulse it out of her. It's completely immune from the pulse to my equipment. And while I would not have actually been able to tether lock the ghost because it did get into an object pretty quickly after pulsing it, the stream should have still have affected it in some manner. The tether should have started the form and simply not locked. But as you can see, I was shooting at point blank range and doing nothing to it. And this isn't the only time I've encountered that issue with that ghost type since the DLC 3 dropped. The other day, I was in the Hudson Canyon Lodge map, did the same thing. Possessor was in a sieve, pulsed it out of him. This Possessor didn't get in an object, it simply dashed down the hallway from me. I shot at it and couldn't do anything. It was immune to the equipment. So the only thing that I can suggest if you find yourself in the same situation is to wait the ghost out. It can't stay in the sieve forever. Eventually it has to vacate the sieve, because if you pulse it out, you're not going to be able to do anything. It's going to be immune to you and be able to attack you, so you won't be able to defend yourself. Or if it decides to run, then if you lose track of it, you have to wait for the PKE to reboot, and so you're going to be blind as to where it's at. But if you wait it out, if it's unaware of you, hopefully, it gets out of the sieve on its own, it will not be immune at that point, and if you can quickly try to get a trap down, you might be able to catch it then. That's the only thing I could suggest trying with that. Now for the couple of bugs that appear to have been fixed, and I do want to state this is just my experience with them. I can't talk for other people's experiences on other platforms, so this is my experience. But the two areas that were brought about, I believe, because of DLC 2 that were exploit areas on both the RMS Atisma map and the Moore's Medical Facility, that were a couple of rooms that were out of bounds. They weren't actually rooms, but that the Ghost and Ghostbuster could access that they weren't supposed to have access to. That does seem to have been fixed. I've tried going in since as both Ghost and Ghostbuster and have not been able to access it, so they do seem to have been fixed. Also, something that I am so hoping has finally been fixed, that's been in the game from the beginning, that I haven't encountered anymore, is the infamous blind glitch. The blind glitch, before this DLC, I got hit with that constantly, multiple times, every play session. It was so fucking annoying. But since DLC 3 came out, I haven't experienced it at all. Now, I don't know if other platforms even had this issue on PlayStation 4. At least in my experience, it only ever affected the Ghostbuster, and it would stay for the entirety of a match and then wear off if you did either leave out or just waited the match out. You could see player names, but you couldn't see anything else. It would be a black screen. But again, since DLC 3 came out, it does seem like that has finally been fixed, and hopefully it won't make a return in future DLCs. And now on to the dual vertical grips, something that a lot of people use, and I'm surprised nobody's really brought up, unless this isn't a widespread problem and I'm just one of the few lucky ones to get stuck with the damn issue. But in any case, it needs to be fixed with a hotfix patch as soon as possible, and not make us wait until DLC 4 comes out, if it would get fixed even then. For those unaware, the dual vertical grips is a particle thrower attachment that you can get. You have to unlock it in a contract that allows you, if you're the primary tetherer, to push or pull the ghost from a tethered state in your stream with L1 or R3. And this is, in my opinion, an invaluable piece of an equipment upgrade. It's been a part of my builds, my various builds, since I've unlocked it. I've always used it, and I could definitely tell there was something wrong with it once DLC 3 came out. Before that, with every other DLC and hotfix patch, with 1 and 2 and their hotfix patches, there was no issue with it. So it still mainly works fine, although it can malfunction, but mainly works fine against the practice ghost in the alleyway and the drudges in matches, but again, can mess up there too. But where it mainly will not function correctly is against the ghost in the matches, whether it is a bot or a player. Even if I'm not actively using it, if it's just equipped on my equipment, as soon as, if I'm primary tetherer and I get a tether lock, it will auto push the ghost out as far as the stream will allow it to, and I can't do anything to stop it. Or occasionally it will take and auto pull the ghost in, but again, I'm not actually moving it, and because it's doing that, then I have no choice but to release the ghost, try to throw another tether, and hope that it doesn't do it again. I'm actually not using it currently in my builds because of how badly it's messing up. But I did test and found a way that if you are someone that is affected with this, and I know other people are because I've seen other people that it's messing up with too. I'll bring that up in a minute. But if you're somebody that's affected by this, something I found that it's not a fix but a workaround that will make it 50-50 shot that it's going to work, is it seems to be the length of the stream has something to do with it. The longer your stream, the more chance it's going to mess up. I found by shortening my stream as much as possible, I think I got it down to 75% using the focus tip, that it reeled it much slower for some reason. It shouldn't. It was like really slow and shouldn't have been that slow. And it wasn't slow if the stream is at a normal range. Then it reels it fast like it's supposed to. But it would work about 50-50. There were times that few matches in a row it would work fine, no issue. And then all of a sudden, next match, there'd be a time that would work, time that it wouldn't. And you never knew. Each time you threw a tether, you didn't know if it was going to work or not. So that is the only thing that I found by, again, shortening the stream. Gives it a 50-50 shot of working. And I can say I am not the only one. I don't know, again, if it's affecting more than just PS4, if it's affecting all platforms, if it's only affecting a few people or a lot. But I do know that I'm not the only one that's affecting. Obviously, I wouldn't be the only one. But the other day, I didn't have it on my build anymore. I had removed it. I was in with a group of all players, and all 4 of us had the ghost tethered. And person had a trap down. The ghost was near the trap, and whoever the primary was, I don't know who it was, but they all of a sudden, once they got it in the, they got the tether and stuff, it auto pushed the ghost way out, way past where the trap was. It was, clear they weren't doing it on purpose, and you could even hear it activate the sound. So it was obvious that somebody had dual vertical grips and that it was auto pushing the ghost out. So I do know that it is affecting other people. I just don't know to what extent. Okay, so for a few other bugs, one of the bugs that's been made worse with DLC 3, at least in a couple of instances, is the damn infamous trap bug, the annoying ass bug that's been in the game from the beginning, that some people say is a latency issue and could be a part of it, but is not solely the reason for it, because I've had enough experience with it that sometimes a ghost that is constantly getting out of the trap because of the bug, if you luck out and happen to catch them even once and say they change to a different ghost, all of a sudden you can catch them no issue. And if it was a latency issue, it wouldn't matter what ghost set they are using. Now, before, I can't recall exactly if it's after the 3rd escape or the 4th, but it was after the third or fourth time of the ghost getting out that the trap is supposed to auto-suck the ghost in. It's given a few times that it can get out, and then the trap will automatically pull it in. And that's always been what has happened before. If, like, my trap or multiple people's traps, and we're able to get it multiple times into a trap, it eventually gets auto-sucked in. However, twice now, since DLC 3, there's been times that the ghost has busted out of multiple people's traps. We would constantly get it to a new trap, and there'd be, I've counted at least 7 or 8 times that the ghost is busting out of the trap automatically as soon as it's pulled. Now, some of it could possibly even be because trap battery's dying, but a lot of it you know when it activates, because as soon as the ghost is pulled into the pull field, it dies, not, you know, a few seconds after, and that's how you can tell it's the bug. And that is definitely worse than it's ever been before. But to be in all fairness, I have only encountered that twice. The other trap bug that I'm still encountering all the time, but it works about the same as it always has. Some other bugs that I've encountered, one that I might even showcase either alongside this video or I might do in a different one, is there was a bug that it was a bot that I can't think of the one, but it throws an orb. It's that 4-armed one. It throws an orb that kind of like slows everything down around you. The bot threw that, and it got replaced by a player after it did that, and I was near where the orb was at, and I got stuck in a slow motion state for the entirety of the match. It would not wear off. I couldn't do anything. When I would run or anything, I was moving in slow motion. That's something I've never encountered before, but it's only happened once, so it's probably a rarity of a bug. A bug with the ghost that seems to have been made, again, worse because of DLC 3. It was around before, but it was really rare to encounter it, at least in my experience, is that when it's a player, you will see their name tag, but you can't see them. The ghost will be invisible, and you can't do anything to tether it, trap it at that point, but it can still attack you. It can sabotage you. And as the ghost, I've found that in that state I can't possess stuff, but I can still like attack. I can still scare civs. I don't think it lets me drop minions if I recall correctly, but this is a bug that was in the game before, but I'm seeing constantly in matches now. It seems to be brought about by going in something and then exiting it like an object, I think is what's causing it, but I can't be certain. But that is a bug that I've encountered a lot more. So that is my experience with a few of the various bugs that currently come to mind that I've had since DLC 3 came out. And if I can think of any others that aren't included in the video, I'll probably put it in a pinned comment or something. In any case, thank you for taking the time to watch the video, and hopefully these bugs will be fixed sooner rather than later. Take care. This has been a Streaming Freedom Video Bulletin. Peace out.